First, I want you to know I'm fine, not because my body is fine, but because my soul is secure in Christ. Death is not the end, it's a promotion. Don't waste 1 second mourning me. I knew the risks of standing up in this cultural moment, and I'd do it all over again. Second, do not let this violence divide us further. The enemy wants chaos, fear, and retaliation. Don't give it to them. Instead, double down on truth. Double down on courage. Double down on your faith and on your families. That is how you honor me. Third, remember this. America is worth it. Free speech is worth it. Fighting for the unborn, for families, for sanity in a culture gone mad, it is all worth it. So dry your tears, pick up your cross, and get back in the fight. Do it with joy, do it with strength, and never ever let evil think it won.
Artificial intelligence being used for something that I guess we can chalk up as being positive. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, it's funny because I think it's exactly what he would say.
Yeah.
I don't consider AI something that is, I guess I've always kind of considered AI to be something that can be used more for bad. Kind of like a Ouija board sort of thing. Like you start asking it questions like, should I do this? Should I do that? Like you're not going to get good advice from it. But man, it really just captured the spirit and the voice of who Charlie was and what he would say and the message that he would have, because it wouldn't be political. It would be faith-based. And it would be a message to, I think, encourage, not enrage, like he would want to encourage people and bring positivity.
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't know who it is I can credit with putting that together, but such a beautiful message. And I think you're right. I think it's, not that they're speaking on his behalf, but I do think that would be his takeaway from all of the awful events that have occurred over the past few days.
Yeah.
And we want to welcome all of you back in here to the New World Old Soul podcast. Thank you for being here. We posted a video a few days ago regarding the Charlie Kirk assassination. And the only reason we felt compelled to do that was because so many of you were asking us if we were doing okay.
I shouldn't even.
Mama needs some tissues.
I literally should not have even worn makeup.
Yeah, so many of you reached out to us, and thank you for that. Not that we are the priority in that situation whatsoever. Difficult time, like we mentioned on that video.
Yeah.
And it's been a few days since. Continuing the process, there has been a lot that has happened. Some of that we would like to dive into here, but we're going to make an effort to keep it positive.
Yeah, no, I mean, like literally, and he's like, "Don't cry for me," and I'm over here. Like, it's funny because like I'm very happy for Charlie because I know, like, there's a lot of people that are like, saying terrible things, but like I know that Charlie is in the best place ever. And was instantly received before we even knew the terrible news. He was already, with his Lord and Savior. He already had that ultimate gift. And like, we shouldn't be crying for him, but we're sad for everybody else. I think for like the hope that a lot of people had in Turning Point, like I know there were a lot of young people that were wondering like what happens now. Does this continue? Is this a revival that's going to sputter out, that's going to lose its power? And then, I mean, we don't really know the answer to any of those questions, but it's been really encouraging to see what's happened over the week. So like my tears are not necessarily sad tears. I feel a lot of encouragement in a weird way.
Yeah, as you should. So much of what has happened online, so much of what has transpired has been so incredibly ugly. And that's been very, very frustrating. I told you I've been grappling with my own frustration and anger. Didn't know the man personally, but like so many out there, I think when you come, you feel like you connect to people because you spend so much time viewing them online, and the man on such a consistent basis, like, poured his heart out and spoke so boldly of his faith, which is what I guess I resonated with. so much. So yeah, it is a very sad time. You still feel for his family
Yeah.
and for those kids. But for him, we should most definitely celebrate.
Right.
That's a very difficult thing to say aloud.
Well, ultimately we are passing through this world. This is not our home. It feels like home because it's all we know, but our rewards are not of this world. And Charlie understood that. And he lived his life in that way. Like he boldly spoke out when he knew the risks. And like many people that knew him said, if you told him exactly what was going to happen, would he still do it?
Would he have done it again?
And they said that 100%, without a doubt, Charlie would have said, yes, Lord, send me.
This only amplifies his message. It amplifies his mission. I took in so much content these past few days showing young people stepping up to the plate. There have been so many beautiful tributes. I thought Candace Owens, whom I don't always agree with, but she had a very close relationship with Charlie Kirk.
Yeah,
and so much of the like behind the scenes, I guess you could say, footage that she released on the little tribute podcast that she put out for Charlie was so cool.
so humanizing.
So humanizing.
Actually, of both of them. Because,
both, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
because, yeah, I've
absolutely.
had my challenges also. And it was so fun to see just this like happy-go-lucky, normal, fun-loving side.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was just such a figure. Or he would walk out on that stage and the fireworks would be going and he was untouchable. You couldn't get close to him. And you almost looked at him as like this mega...
Oh, he was special. I mean, the gifts that God bestowed upon that man were, he was a one of one, like I said.
He was an incredible mind. He could communicate like no other. And he was willing to communicate. Like he used those gifts to communicate. And so, I mean, there's been a lot of things spread around this week that I guess have been frustrating because I hate seeing lies and things taken out of context, using the words of somebody who is no longer here to defend themselves or to defend what they said.
Yeah.
That's been really frustrating. He's always been such a voice for the voiceless.
Mm-hmm.
He was always such a strong advocate for the preborn, for example, and they don't have a voice and he would speak for them, or he would speak for so many people that felt like they couldn't or they didn't have a platform. And he's being called a fascist right now, but literally, a fascist is somebody who seeks to silence. They are anti-free speech. Charlie would say opposing views to the front of the line when he would go. And then he would take somebody who opposed him and disagreed with him, and he would hand them a microphone on one of the biggest platforms in the world and let them speak.
The terms fascist, Nazi, racist have all lost their meaning.
Yeah, they're very much misused. But I mean, there's been so many things on our own page. Like the one that's being sent, please stop sending this to us because Jeremy is, he's part Asian. My children are Asian. And I keep getting messages of, Melissa, how dare you? He literally yelled out, you like chink, when he was arguing with someone. And they keep sending me the video of Charlie Kirk yelling out, like, I live capitalism every day, chink. That is not what he said. He said Cenk, and it was literally the man's name that he was arguing with.
He was responding to Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks. The man's name is Cenk, spelled Cenk.
Please stop sending me that video.
I've been grappling with a lot of internal frustration and anger. Like I mentioned, I'm trying not to live in that space because we are not called to do so. However, the character assassination that has been occurring since the man's actual assassination has been absolutely infuriating. I'm going to say it. There's so much misinformation. I don't know what other word to use that's being put out there.
I mean,
whether it be the assailant who was captured and then shown wearing a Trump shirt just so that the leftist mob could have this narrative and run with it, which is completely nonsensical, or it
Well, and
being
also the Trump show, that's AI generated. I
AI
need everyone to
generated,
understand that. Also,
completely
please stop
false.
sending us that picture.
All because we're playing political teams, Team Red and Team Blue, which
Mm-hmm.
this goes far beyond that. Whether it be these partial statements and snippets that are taken
Yes, I do
completely
not
out of
believe in
context.
empathy is another one being sent around. And then so people are making reels feeling empathetic for somebody who doesn't believe in empathy. This man said, I hate empathy. Charlie Kirk said, I don't agree with empathy. I hate the word. It's a made up term. I mean, I'm not,
New age term.
yeah, new age term. And it's because empathy is literally putting yourself in someone else's shoes, which he said was impossible. You cannot put yourself in someone else's shoes, or the term that so many people on the left like, lived experience. You cannot live someone else's experience.
Empathy is an impossible standard to achieve. You can
Yeah.
have sympathy for someone, but you can never fully place yourself in their shoes.
Every time someone sends me that, I say, now finish the quote, because the rest of the quote was, I prefer sympathy and compassion. That's how he finished that quote. I don't agree with empathy. I hate the term, because you can't feel what someone else is feeling. What he preferred was compassion and sympathy.
What a monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's
So-
that one. There was you reap what you sow, because he was pro pew pew, pro Second Amendment,
Right.
and this is the end result of that. The man was pro Second Amendment. He was not pro assassination or murder. What else? He was a misogynist. He was a racist.
Because he valued women so much. He did preach, the biblical role of a woman, honor your husband. But then again, finish the quote. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Christ died for the church. He lived and died for the church. So the other half of Charlie's message was, and husbands, live and die for your wife. So it wasn't one-sided. It wasn't like women honor your husbands and then the husbands could do whatever they want. That was not his message.
He was a racist.
Yeah.
Funny, because there have been so many minority folks who are coming out telling personal stories about how it is that he helped them. If you watch any of the interactions, my big takeaway with all of this slanderous garbage that was being put out there is that there are so many people who are completely unfamiliar with Charlie Kirk. You clearly never took the time to familiarize yourself with the man or his character, because if you had, you would see all of this for what it is, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
What do you make of all of this? Because like I said a second ago, all of this just seems to go beyond politics. It's not what the man stood for. And to me, I'm grateful that all of this is being put out there, because again, the leftist mob does nothing but expose themselves for what they are. And what they are is a group that has fully embraced evil. It is a battle of good versus evil. And I think it's pretty abundantly obvious which side all of these folks
Well, I think it's
are
justification. The more and more that people are, Charlie went from 3 million followers on Instagram to 10 million.
You see what happened with all of the Turning Point USA chapter inquiries and applications.
There were
More than doubled.
3,500. So there was, I think, 900 university chapters, and then another 2,500 or 2,600 high school
I
chapters.
think nearly doubled. I maybe misspoke
Oh, no,
there.
no.
I think no.
No.
I think it was like 11,000, something like that in total. And then since Erica Kirk came out and made a statement, they received in just a
There
24-hour
were
period.
3,500, including college and high school,
Okay.
and it's gone to 36,000. It has tenfolded.
So chalk that up to his message once again being amplified. And like I said, there are all these young people. I don't understand what it is that they and when I say they, because we've been asked
Who's
numerously
they?
who is
Who's
they.
they?
We all know damn well who they are. I don't know what it is that they think they managed to accomplish in doing all of this. I saw a cartoon, a little like comic meme, call it what you want, of like the Hoover Dam and a town that was placed beneath the Hoover Dam. Charlie Kirk, his name was written on the Hoover Dam. Actual right-wing extremists were assigned as being the water being held back by the dam, and these crazy leftists had their label over the town. And it's so perfectly encapsulated exactly what it is that's happening here. Charlie Kirk was not an extreme right-wing guy. He was extremely moderate. If you familiarize yourself with any of his work over the past 10 plus years, you would very clearly see that he was incredibly respectful of all people, regardless of their race, regardless of their sexual orientation, regardless of whether or not they were actually a trans person. This entire
Yeah.
thing
There were a lot of people that would go up to the microphone and say, I'm a trans male, I'm a trans female.
and he would express his love, his genuine, authentic love, and the amount of care that he had for them. He always spoke to them in a very respectful manner, and he would openly express that love and affection that he had for them. At the same time, he would say that he didn't approve of their lifestyle or their own personal decision making, but he would caringly plead with them to reconsider or at least hear him out
and
with his opinion on the matter.
I mean, he would become angry at not at people coming up to the microphone and saying stuff. If they attacked him, he would just be like, "You're done. Move along."
Yep.
Like, next question.
Not even then would he lash out. Better man than I.
Yeah. Yeah, he had really great self-control. But the things that really angered him would be when that agenda was pushed on children, to corrupt children or to pervert children or to sexualize kids.
He would call what was wrong, wrong.
Right. And so they would be like, he was so angry and vicious towards the trans community and stuff. It was like, no, he was rightfully angry, righteously angry at the corruption of children in schools and
but
things
he
like that.
didn't express it in an angry way. He was so oftentimes very delicate in articulating his points, regardless of who it was that he was speaking to. So for them to try to portray him as being some monster, some hateful alt-right guy is completely inaccurate.
Well, the funny thing is they have to take his words out of context. They have to take half quotes. They cannot play the full episode. They cannot even play the full sentence.
It's just flat out manipulation. But to go back to my point here, given that level of manipulation, like, what is it you think you're accomplishing here? Because we have access to information at the palm of our hands here.
They're trying to justify what they did.
Of course they are.
And they're trying to keep the people that they had that were moderate or on the fence or unsure, because a lot of people are going, what the heck?
And you're saying they again, what they did. One person is responsible for the actual heinous act of violence. However, there are a number of people that contributed to this. I'm not even going to have the discussion or argument. If you can't very plainly see that, but even leading up to it, I saw the women on The View, and what is it they had to say in condemning these actions. Mm-hmm. You can go back and find any of these left-wing pundits and so many of their statements over the years, or even labeling somebody as being a racist or a Nazi or a misogynist. And turning up the temperature on that, like, what? This is the natural evolution. You're going to reach a point. You keep turning up the temperature. You keep ramping up the intensification with which you vilify somebody else. It just takes one crazy out there to embrace that and take action. I'm sorry.
But when you have, TMZ, who's claiming that they were watching a car race,
right,
cheering at the very moment that they announced that Charlie had passed,
evil.
Literally the background cheering. When you have people on campuses laughing, there was a Students for Life. She was speaking on a college campus when she got the news, and Charlie was her friend. And she literally broke down, and the students around her started laughing and mocking her. When you have people willing to do that, you have a lot of people that were on that side of things that were considering themselves left-wing or Democrats or moderates, or they lean left or center-leaning left or something like that, that look at that behavior and go, I don't want any part of that. So they have to justify their behavior by lying, by taking what he said out of context, and by making up just blatant accusations about what it is he said versus what it is he meant.
Again, like I asked you, what do you make of that? Because it's gotten to the point that I view these people as just being, but it's demonic.
But it's also desperation to keep that side, because
there's nothing productive to come of it. There are people. I read a comment from a guy who said he went into his local county voter registration office to change his party affiliation from Democrat to Republican, and he said that he showed up and the lobby was packed to the point that he had to like pull a number and sit in the lobby for like an hour in order to declare himself now as a Republican, because he wanted zero association with the Democratic Party. What do you think you're accomplishing here? What good is to come from any of this? You're shooting yourself in the foot. I hate using that term given the the moment that we're in here, but that's all it is that you're managing to accomplish.
Well, yes. I mean, this is the Stephen effect, if you will. Stephen was the first Christian martyr ever. So Acts 7 speaks about Stephen's death. So Stephen was the first Christian to be martyred. He was drug out to the out of the city by the Sanhedrin, by the holy people, because they couldn't beat him in debate. They couldn't silence him.
Sounds familiar.
He was rising up. He was creating waves, and they couldn't argue against him. So out of rage and out of anger, they drug him outside the city and they stoned him to death. And as he was being stoned, he prayed for God to receive his soul. And the very last thing he did was fall to his knees and said, "Do not hold this sin against them. Do not hold this sin against them," was the last words that the first Christian martyr spoke as he was killed. And Saul at the time, who later becomes the Apostle Paul, was young Saul, and he was raised to be this holy man. I mean, he was not a priest at the time because I think he was underage, but he was literally holding the robes of the Sanhedrin and the holy people that were stoning. It was like a custom to remove your robe. He was holding the robes of the holy men as they stoned Stephen, and he witnessed him calling to God to forgive them for what they did, which is exactly what Jesus did as he died on the cross. Forgive them, they know not what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And later, he becomes the Apostle Paul, the apostle to the Gentile, and loses his life himself. But what an impact that had on Saul, later Paul, to watch the first Christian martyr last words before forgiveness for those that persecuted and killed him. And I believe Charlie would have done the same had he had the opportunity.
Yeah, there's a
which
definite
is
ripple effect to come
in
along with all
listening
that.
to that AI. It is do not allow hatred and anger to further divide. That's what they want. Don't give it to them.
You trust the government to make the best choices for your health? What about your family's health? We decided years ago that we were going to start taking control over what we put into our bodies, and it's also why we chose to purify our water with Cove Pure.
Over 70% of Americans are served by water systems that have fluoride added to the supply. You know the stuff in toothpaste which we are told to spit out into the sink? Fluoride, which has been linked in multiple studies to cognitive damage and lower IQ scores in kids. So tell us again why the government wants people actually ingesting this stuff.
Yeah, luckily, Cove Pure is certified to remove up to 99.9% of impurities using the same technology trusted by hospitals. That includes fluoride, but also all the other garbage that you'll find even in well water, PFAS, fertilizer runoff, arsenic, you name it.
Yeah, the first thing that I noticed with Cove Pure is the taste. Guys, this is how water is supposed to taste. Pure and clean with no aftertaste, and it's super easy. No drilling or plumbers, just fill it and press a button. You can choose any temperature, hot or cold, and how much you want dispensed. So you're not guessing how much water you drink. The instant hot water is incredible for making a quick mug of tea. That's literally my favorite feature. It's so convenient.
So don't wait for the government to sort out pure water. Do it yourself. Head to covepure.com/NWOS. And for a limited time only, you'll get a special discount of $200 off Cove Pure. A partner that we know Charlie was really proud of and passionate about is Preborn. He was a strong advocate for life. And right now, babies' lives are ending in silence. But you can save one today.
Yeah, many women choose to terminate because they feel trapped and alone. With easy access to pills mailed straight to their homes, thousands of lives are ending without hope. Never a chance to hear of the community ready and willing to support them every step of the way, or of the love and goodness of Jesus.
Preborn offers free ultrasounds and compassionate care. And when a mother sees her baby on an ultrasound, 80% of the time she chooses life.
And your gift makes that possible. Just $28 gives a mother a free ultrasound and one baby the chance to live.
Go to preborn.com/NWOS to give $28 today and save a baby's life. Do it right now because every heartbeat matters. It's what the enemy wants.
Right.
I
So
told
as
you,
angry
I
as you feel.
I was so like, I'm not the biggest difficulty, the biggest hurdle I have with the Christian faith and grappling with it is that very concept.
You view it as weak?
It's not that I view it as weak. I view it as difficult to overcome.
Like it's not enough. Like you want vengeance. You want to see it.
Yeah. I mean, I just, I guess it makes you no better than them, though, right? If I were confronted with the opportunity to carry out retribution for the actions that were taken upon Charlie Kirk, it would be, uh, I mean, from an earthly perspective, it would be incredibly satisfying. Let's say it would appease that frustration, and I know a lot of people out there are feeling that way. Not that I'm ever going to take any action myself. That's not what I'm saying here. But I'm saying that the desire that lives within me is one of incredible anger and frustration, and it's hard for me to overcome that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want to see justice done here on Earth. They're, people are calling for the death penalty of
Rightfully
the
so.
shooter and
Yeah.
everything like that. And it's just, it's so easy to let hate and anger consume you, especially because it is like a stage of grief. And people are feeling this death is so, I mean, it's been so impactful in the lives of so many people. And there's a lot of people wondering why. Why Charlie's death? And it's definitely got that MLK effect, that Abraham Lincoln effect.
Yeah, but I told you, I think it's amplified because now we have social media, we have the internet, and you have the ability to access and actually witness this as it occurred. And that's going to make a tremendous impact on people.
Well,
and it's not going to go away. It'll be there forever.
He was an evangelist, like the very last thing. So he was answering a question about trans shootings, but the person who went up right before him, I think this is so important. Some of the final words, the last full question that he was actually able to answer, he answers the man's question and then he stops and says, Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God over all. He spoke that just minutes before he was assassinated. So right before he's assassinated, he's literally out there spreading the word of God. His testimony is so strong. And that's the last full statement ever made by Charlie Kirk.
He was an evangelist. Like I said, he was Billy Graham. Like, I wish I appreciated, and I think, again, a lot of people are feeling this way too. I wish I appreciated him more for what he was while he was still here. But in going through, because I've been diving down rabbit holes
the political stuff,
the political stuff aside, the man changed people's lives, and there are so many personal testimonies that are attesting to that. But even in his delivery, not only did he have this amazing God-given ability to recite like biblical passages, or he was able to like contextualize it in a way that was so impactful for so many people. Like he made it make sense, and he used our modern day, whether it be politics or just the things that we're seeing in the world, and it just, God, it's so frustrating. Like but when I was watching all of these back to back, I'm like, he was like Billy Graham.
Yeah,
very similar in his delivery, just as impactful and powerful, and just the passion behind it. It was so.
Even more so because I mean, he truly did die as a martyr, and people are like, "Oh, he's not a martyr. Like, give me a break. It's not that serious." But it 100% is. Like, remember the 21 that were killed in Libya?
Yeah.
So they were, for those that don't know, it was 20 construction workers from Egypt, one from Ghana, and all they had to do was say that they weren't Christians and then convert to being Muslims, or at least say that they're Muslims, denounce their Christian faith, and they would be let go. Yep. And they refused to do so. And they even won over the hearts of their captors. Like, even their captors said that they liked them and that they respected them. But ultimately, they still beheaded them because they were given a deadline to denounce their Christian faith, and they refused to do so. Right. They were marched out to their death. They knew what was coming, got on their knees, and died as martyrs. And that left such an impact on so many people that their lives never could. And so although Charlie Kirk had this powerful message and he was changing lives and he was firing up the youth, his death will do so much more than his words in life ever could.
Yeah, we're seeing that.
Like, this was the first Sunday since he died. And I have heard pastor after pastor after pastor say people had to park a mile away from our church and walk in because there was no parking. And we had so many baptisms. We had so many conversions. Our church was standing room only. We couldn't fit them in. They were filling the parking lot. We were trying to figure out how to broadcast from the church out into the parking lot because there were people standing out. So many people return to church or attend a church for the first time today,
Or open their Bibles.
dusted off their Bibles
Yeah.
because of Charlie Kirk's tragic death. And I think if you had told Charlie that,
Yeah.
he would have accepted that. He would have taken, like, I think not that he deserved it or that he would have chosen to die, but if you said, this is what would happen if you do this, he knew it was always a possibility. But even Charlie had no idea that his death could ever have the impact that it's had. I mean, did you see the Kennedy Center today?
No.
So the Kennedy Center filled to the brim of people singing, I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back. That was the lyrics.
Yeah.
Filling the Kennedy Center, everyone singing. And it's so beautiful to see the peaceful gatherings of people praying, singing hymns, putting their arms around one another. Everything has been peaceful and everything has been honoring God.
Yep.
To remember Charlie and the life he lived, and that is truly what's honoring to him. And that's the difference. Like when you look at when George Floyd died from having a heart attack from fentanyl and then it being, like
Excited delirium.
Right. Excited delirium is what the medical examiner said he died from. But the people said, well, this cop knelt on him. Okay. So even if he had been murdered in the way that they said, they burned cities to the ground. They lit cars on fire. They burned Black-owned businesses. People were killed. People were beat in the streets. They looted. They like the cities burned when they considered their martyr was put to death.
Better yet, did you see these instigators that are going through all of these vigils and the way people are responding to it?
I've seen a few thrown to the ground, but
the restraint, there was one today outside TPUSA, but the restraint and the appropriate response, the response that Charlie Kirk would have wanted, the response that we are commanded to carry out as Christians, it has so impressed me, and it has been so incredibly uplifting. Again, to go back, you mentioned all these people going to church. I told you, like, even with my anger and frustration, prior to me recording you snoring in bed last night, I was flipping through my phone and I was reading through just different Bible verses that touched upon the topic of, not tapping into that internal anger and frustration.
Were you reading Bible verses that were telling you it was okay to have righteous anger,
trying
to justify it? Or were you reading?
You can have righteous anger, right? Like so many do.
Right.
And I don't fault anyone for those feelings, but it's one thing to live with and harbor that frustration. It's another thing to put it in action. And I told you, I love this verse from Romans chapter 12, verse 19. Beloved, never avenge yourselves, but leave it to the wrath of God. For it is written, vengeance is mine. I will repay, says the Lord. It made me feel better.
You're like, ooh, the wrath of God sounds good.
It sounded great. But we want this earthly vengeance.
Right.
And it's
human
so difficult.
nature.
So huge credit. And I've been so proud and grateful for the response of so many who had every reason to take action. I mean, it's one thing to go up and restrain somebody or grab them or throw them to the ground.
Right. If
like
you're,
we saw today,
outside the Turning Point headquarters, a kid, 19-year-old kid today, dressed as the shooter, like they're literally selling the t-shirts on Etsy. Those should be taken down. This is ridiculous because you're just asking for copycats and stuff. Goes and buys the shirt, which is apparently sold out. And then shows up at the Turning Point headquarters and begins stomping the memorial. So someone grabbed him and like threw him off of the memorial. I don't consider that violence. I mean, he just stopped his actions, and then the police stepped in and he was arrested.
Yeah, you're restraining him.
Yeah, he was restrained.
He deserved more.
People are, yeah, he did. I mean, that's ballsy to show up and do that, dress that way, and just show up and then be that disrespectful. It's just,
I guess the part of it that freaks me out is just it's gotten to the point literally with even so many of the comments and messages that we've gotten from people. I feel like we're being attacked by swarms of demons. Yet when you click on their profiles, these are people who present very normal,
Mhm.
who are living lives, have families and normal jobs. What is going on? It
A
feels
lot
like
of them
there
are
is an uprising
educators.
of evil. The embrace with which all of these people are just openly celebrating this horrific event is beyond
They're
troubling.
justifying it. They're saying, well, no, this is a good thing because he did all this damage. This is a good thing because of these words that he said. But they're using them out of context, or they're not understanding them. Or, like, we've gotten so many quotes of like, oh, he hated black people because he said that if he saw a black surgeon, he'd rather lay there and die. That's been debunked. He did not say that. He didn't say anything even close to that. That is like just a flat out lie. But what he brought up in a podcast, I think it was like last January or last February, he said when it was in wake of all of these airline mishaps, he said, we're having a problem with DEI hires because people are not being hired based on merit.
Mhm.
We must have people admitted to colleges, receiving scholarships, being hired to, especially things like pilot and surgeon and
Yeah.
very important skill-based jobs based on your merit, not on your gender or on your race. Or the color of your skin shouldn't mean that we have lower standards for you, because people's lives hang in the balance. And the damage that DEI does is that it causes people to doubt. I mean, imagine being Ben Carson, literally one of the most gifted surgeons of our time, like gifted by God to be able to do what he did. Brilliant mind, black surgeon. Imagine being Ben Carson and people go, is he a DI hire? He walks
Gee, I
in.
wonder. Yeah.
Yeah. And people are like, questioning him. So if everything is just merit based, like I know as a female, if I was really good at something, like I was like a fighter pilot, I was really good and I devoted my life to it. I was like the best female fighter pilot ever. And I earned my way on
Top Gun.
Yeah. Like, and I could play volleyball too. I would want to be looked at for like, wow, she's really skilled. I wouldn't want someone to go, is she only here because she's a female because of DEI? Like
Yeah.
how frustrating when you are really good at something and people question it. And that's what he was saying. DEI doesn't just damage people's trust in people, but it damages people's credibility.
Yeah, it's
It doesn't
disrespectful.
do women and different, it doesn't do you as a brown man any favors when
It
you
undermines and discredits
Yeah.
your life's accomplishments.
Yeah, like as a cop, someone might look at you with brown skin and say you were only hired because they needed to check that brown box.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the, if we have just a merit-based system, no, you were hired because you were the best applicant, and that's the only way it's ever been, then nobody questions those things. Nobody has to question credibility, and nobody gets questioned. Like if you earned a scholarship because you were really, really smart, but you also happen to be female, or you also happen to be black, or you also happen to be Hispanic, it's really frustrating to be questioned.
Yeah.
Because they've lower standards based on skin color or gender or orientation. Why are we doing that? And who does it really do anyone any favors?
Of course not.
It should be merit-based is Charlie's argument. He wasn't a racist. He wasn't sexist. He literally said you should earn positions.
All he said was best and brightest.
Yes.
A meritocracy, which is what we should be operating under.
Right.
In all situations. Nevaeh brought up, we've heard from a lot of people since posting, our video a few days back when all this happened. We've both negative and positive, primarily positive. So I want to thank so many of you out there. But we had gotten some threats.
Yeah.
We've gotten a number of people who just came with a bunch of personal attacks and negativity, saying that they were going to leave. We also had people saying thank you because you are one of the only people that I view or hear from online who are apparently are willing to even touch this. What do you make of all of that? Because Nevaeh is talking to other people that are, operate in the same space that we do, and they are losing droves of followers.
Well, I think our hit was heavy. I mean, we definitely caught some arrows.
And how'd that make you feel?
This week, we're sitting on a strong 10 of 10 video, which means like the worst of your videos out of the last 10. We knew it was coming based on the lashing out and the unsubscribing and the threats and stuff. We knew it was coming, but I actually didn't care at all. This was the only time. Usually if you get a 10 of 10 video, it kind of bums you out. Like it wrecks your week. It definitely wrecks your day. You're like, I worked hard on that video. It's 10 of 10, like no one wants to see that their last piece of work out of 10 is the worst. But this week I literally didn't care. It didn't disrupt my peace at all. I thought this week I felt like, you know what? If you're not losing a few people, if you're not taking some arrows, if you're not causing some waves, or you're not causing the gnashing of the teeth of evil and bad, if you're not like upsetting evil this week, then you're not doing enough. Then you're not saying enough. Like if
You're not prioritizing the proper things.
right.
I'm proud of our 10 of 10. I took immense pleasure out of it. So we talked a lot about how overwhelming big life decisions can feel, whether it be moving, having kids, caring for loved ones. And when it comes to healthcare, it can get even more stressful.
Yeah, take Medicare, for example. I know my own mom really struggled with enrollment. There were too many plans, too much conflicting advice, and she's not alone. Every year, millions of seniors make mistakes that cost them thousands of dollars and sometimes even access to the doctors that they trust. And that's why we are so proud to partner with Chapter.
Chapter's founders started the company after watching their own parents get bad advice, ending up on the wrong Medicare plan and stuck with lifelong penalties. Their mission is simple: make sure that no one else has to go through that. Unlike other advisors, Chapter searches every single Medicare plan nationwide to find the one that's right for you. On average, they save people $1,100 a year, and even more importantly, a whole lot of stress.
Yeah, and calling them is free and easy, and here's what I love most. They'll always be honest. If you're already on the right plan, they're going to tell you, and if not, they will help you switch. So give them a call at 484-812-4045 and feel confident in your Medicare coverage.
You guys know we love Angel Studios, and that's because we have always believed in the power of storytelling, the kind that inspires your faith and reminds you of what truly matters. And Angel brings us films that honor God, celebrate our country, and instill the values that we can stand behind. Movies like Sound of Freedom, Homestead, and The Last Rodeo.
They also have a lot of really exceptional children's content, which is honestly so worth signing up for. We have really enjoyed King of Kings, Young David, and The Tuttle Twins, which is based off some of our favorite homeschool book series. We also love Iggy and Mr. Kirk, which is going to be so fun for little Micah as he grows.
Yeah, Angel has so many great films, documentaries, and children's programming, and they are always adding new, exciting, and exceptional titles so we don't run out of safe and inspiring entertainment that we can all enjoy together as a family.
And right now, when you join the Angel Guild, you can stream all of these titles plus many more. Angel Studios is delivering family-friendly entertainment that leaves you feeling good, films that champion faith, freedom, and self-reliance.
We're so happy to support them, and we'd love for you to join us and enjoy all that Angel Studios has to offer. To sign up today, go to angel.com/NWOS and become a premium Angel Guild member today. If I had the ability on this end of things to eradicate and eliminate those that I don't want here, I would do it myself. So for those people who are coming on, lashing out, saying that they were leaving, good riddance. Make sure you don't come back. I appreciate it because, again, I have no ability to take care of that myself on this end. I don't care about social media. I've said this many a time. If you want to leave, leave. If you enjoy what we do and you want to be here, so appreciate you. Glad you enjoy it. For those people who are unwilling to speak out, I get it. But your lack of action causes me to lose a ton of respect for you. And I'm not trying to go out of my way to like personally go after anybody, but you're prioritizing the wrong thing. You're trying to appeal to everybody and you're prioritizing your own personal finance and your own personal reputation and making sure that you are viewed in a positive light by everyone. So you're just going to remain as neutral as possible. Like I don't
some
have
people,
it in me.
I feel like some people are neutral just by nature.
Is
like some
money
people
really that
are
important to people,
apolitical. Some people aren't. There's a lot of like lukewarm Christians.
For sure.
But if something that you do feel really passionate about, if you're having these discussions in your home, if you feel that these things are important for our society, for our nation, for your family, for your children, then you have to think about how is it that, because like our children, as parents, we have 5 children, and something that I've discovered is children do not care what we say as parents. Like, oh, my children don't listen to me. They're not listening to me. I tell them something and they don't listen. And it's because so often what we say is not what we live. It's very easy to say the right thing as a parent, but if you're not living it, they're not listening. So if your
what kind
kids
of example are you setting?
aren't listening to you, it's because maybe you're not living it. And we've been guilty of that as well. Your children, just like the world, will know you by your fruit and by your actions. So your children will watch your actions and they will emulate that, or they will judge you based on what you do, not what you say. So
Yeah.
you can say all the right things, but if your words are falling on deaf ears, you have to wonder, am I showing and displaying what it is that I'm saying to your kids? So if we as YouTubers or as podcasters prioritize likes, money, sponsors, which we've lost a few of.
Again, good riddance.
Yeah, if you're a brand and you listen to the words that we say and you say, I don't want to work with you, well, we don't want to work with you either. So, okay. And if we were like, we can't say that because this sponsor is not going to like it, or we can't do this because we're going to lose 1,000 people this week, which we did.
Bye.
If we give our children that message, we give them a message of being a coward, of prioritizing money, of prioritizing the world and being embraced and approved and loved by the world rather than God. And then we can say, oh, you need to live for Jesus. But if we're not living for Jesus, then it falls on deaf ears.
I just view it as evil. Once again, an influence of evil.
It's hard. It's hard because when you build something and you protect it and it's your baby and it's your business and it's your livelihood, it's hard to burn it down.
What matters more?
100%.
It's not very high on the list for me,
100%.
which is why I don't care.
Yeah, so I was actually listening to Ali Beth, who I've become a really big fan of. It's funny because when I first started listening to her podcast, I was like, oh, her delivery is a little like harsh. You know, like I don't know if I like this girl. It took me a little while listeking to her.
But she's convicted. I respect it.
She speaks, yes, she speaks. She's comes from a place of conviction, but also everything she says is so deeply rooted in biblical truth and value. And she's so firm in what she says and unapologetic. And I respect that. Also, she would turn to Charlie and she would say, like, I have this message or that message, which she shared this week. And she would say, what should I say? How do I communicate this? And he would always write back, Jesus. That was always his answer to her.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like that would be frustrating in the moment. Like, no, you're so smart. Give me something more. But that's all he ever gave her.
But it's as simple as that.
Yeah. Like, say, so again, be willing to take some arrows if it's something that you truly believe in. If you feel tore up by this, and this isn't just, my cousin just posted this morning that she had a friend of 20 years that attacked her, publicly shamed her, published their conversation, because there's a lot of people arguing with family members, with friends, with employers. There is a lot of ugly going on the internet right now. It's kind of bringing back election vibes.
There's no rationalizing with these people.
But
you can't have the discussion. There's literally no discussion to be had. There's no reasoning with anyone.
Yeah, but like with the arguments, there's so many people having these arguments, and there's so many people willing now. Like if you feel this emboldened and this impassioned, go with it. Now I feel like there's a revival happening, and it's not a warpath. It's in a way it is, and in a way it's a battle cry, but it's a battle cry for Jesus. It's a battle cry for salvation. It's a battle cry to get people back rooted in their families and in their churches and in their homes and in what matters, in truth, in biblical values, in living for God, and in living for not things of this world, but for our salvation,
Yeah.
and making sure that our children understand the importance of truth and salvation above anything that they could ever acquire in this world. And
It's
that's
just,
not
I'm not
popular
of that
per
mindset. Like,
se.
I don't, oh my gosh, eternal salvation and doing the right thing and setting a good example for my kids or Instagram followers. All of this, or all my YouTube AdSense revenue this month is going to be down if I'll just keep my mouth shut. If that's all it takes for you to bend, I mean, like, what is it that you actually stand for?
Well, also there's power in numbers, and I think people are starting to realize that. So I love what I'm seeing now. I do, but I wonder if it's going to have a lasting effect. Now, like the martyr Stephen had a lasting effect. He had probably the strongest effect on the Christian church because he died speaking. He literally walked to his death for standing up for Jesus, knowing that that was the ultimate price that he paid. And then many, many followed in his footprints or in his footsteps, including all of the disciples afterwards. He might have been the first to die, but so many witnessed what happened. Not that you have to go out there and like sacrifice your life. No one's asking you to go out and become a martyr, but your reputation, your YouTube likes, maybe some friendships, maybe even your job. We cannot be afraid to speak truth or to call out evil or wrong where it stands. We are called to do that, and this is a time to stand up, and we need to do that in this time
I agree.
and keep it going.
I think we're there. Like, where do you stand?
It's,
Where do you stand? And where do you draw the line?
well, so Charlie's life really emboldened and empowered and excited the youth, especially young men, especially our young man. We have a 15-year-old son. I shared this on the video when you guys were at Turning
Real
Point.
quick, I was proud of him because when I brought up all this internal struggle that I was having with like my anger and frustration, I'm like, God, like it's like this Christian battle. It's not easy. And he looked at me and what did he say? It's not supposed to be easy.
Yeah.
Like one simple phrase. And I was like, man,
you're so wise, Kaimani.
So wise, son. He's right though.
Yeah. And you were like, I feel so angry. And he said, I don't feel that way, Dad.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't feel anger. Like
Nothing.
I thought he was feeling anger because he's being so quiet. I thought he's angry. He's
Nothing
upset.
like being put in place by your 15-year-old son.
Yeah. And he said, well, I don't feel anger. I feel excited and I feel empowered. And like when I spoke to him at the Turning Point conference, I was like, so how do you feel being there? And he was all excited. He was on that conference high and he was like, I feel like I belong here.
Right.
And he was so excited and he came back excited. Like he came back on fire. Like I'm going to do this with my life. And now he's been really somber this week and I've been kind of worried about him. And like right when Charlie, like we heard about it all live. We were watching all of it and he came in here in the studio and he sat by himself. And I think he was just kind of struggling in his head. No, I don't even think he was struggling. I think he was finding clarity. And he seems to have so much peace with like what he does next. And it doesn't come from a place of anger or rage or revenge. It comes from a place of clarity and love. And I want to carry the torch that he was carrying. Like I want to pick up the microphone. I want to pick up the torch and I want to carry it for Charlie. And there's so many people that are We Are Charlie now. And
worldwide too.
Yeah, worldwide.
Crazy.
I mean, in
people
Korea,
are like, why is it such a big deal? I'm like,
in the
literally,
UK.
this man impacted lives around the world, every continent minus Antarctica. But
I've never seen anything like it.
It's unreal. I saw like a group of like tribal looking African dudes. It's insane. The
cool.
long lasting impact that this will have. I know we're kind of talking in circles.
Yeah,
but this is huge.
Yeah, I think so too. It's been really encouraging. I'm so proud of so many young people out there that are keeping it peaceful, keeping it positive, encouraging people to have discussion, saying, we're going to bring back discussion. We're going to bring back open dialogue. Go back to church, find your faith, open your Bible, speak up for what's good. Let's bring back the American family. Let's get married. Let's have babies.
It's been beautiful. There's been so much positive, so much good to come from it. And it's been a very somber week. And then it's so easy to focus on all the negativity that is happening. undeniably. But yeah, there's so much good.
But
to
there's
come
so
from
much
it.
good.
And I'm so proud of our kid, like all of our kids.
Yeah.
They that we alluded to the fact that they were having a hard time initially, and of course, like that's the appropriate response. But since then, so much to be proud of.
Yeah. But I mean, like,
and he helps to instill that within
Yeah.
them.
but yeah, wouldn't you know it that God took something so evil and so heinous and so terrible, and he's using it for so much good.
Yeah, funny how
He
that works, huh?
took something that Satan celebrated. The second that Charlie lost his life, Satan celebrated. The demons rejoiced, right? Like
Mhm.
they dance on his grave, and God is taking that and he is magnifying it for his good by the thousands. And like that's just the nature of God. And it's so beautiful to see.
Beautiful to see, for sure. All right, you want to start winding this one down?
Yep.
Okay. Frustration in me, mama. Like, oh,
It's not supposed to be easy.
not supposed to be that way, and it's not supposed to be easy, as a wise young Kaimani pointed out to me so boldly. But yeah, we will try to come back in here next week, hopefully with some happier news to discuss. Until then, you guys take care. You look beautiful, by the way, today.
Thank you.
I didn't get to say it in the beginning. You look so nice.
I've been practicing for my upcoming podcast.
But so I appreciate you guys out there. Thank you for being here once again. We'll see you next week. Till then, God bless.
Living in the new world with an heart